Shalom. I want to start off by giving all the praise, honor, and glory unto Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahushai, Bahashem, Kodesh. Double honors to my teachers, the apostles and elders, great Muslim, and salutations to you, Akim, that's out there listening. Push forth this word with truth and sincerity, and to Akwat as well, that's listening with sincerity. I'm the brother Machaya from the camp, GMS Montreal, coming back with another lesson. And you have to pour into yourself in order to pour out of you. Okay, saying this in the sense of you know basically what you give your attention onto, that's what your mind is going to be filled with. Especially when it comes to whenever you want to make lessons or be in the spirit. Some of the times the reason it may be that you can't find a topic, or you can't be in the spirit, is because you're not pouring into yourself. you know you're not reading enough, or you're not watching enough lessons, whatever that may be. You know what I'm saying? Because like scriptures say, I think it's in Luke 6. Uh, bear with me. Yeah, Luke 6 and verse 45. It says, "A good man out of the good treasure of his heart bringeth forth that which is good, and an evil man out of the evil treasure of his heart bringeth forth that which is evil. For out of the abundance of the heart his mouth speaketh." Okay, so out of the abundance of the heart, your mouth is going to speak. So in other words, where you give your time, your attention unto, what I'm saying? And whatever you consume with your mind, that's what's going to pour out. Okay? So imagine if you're reading, you're watching lessons, that's like your day-to-day routine. Hey, of course, the only thing that's going to come out is spiritual things, man. I'm saying? You won't have that much struggle to be making lessons. Because what? It's naturally going to be pouring out of you, man. You see? That's the importance. We have to be very careful what we give our attention onto, man. Of course, everything within a balance. You're not going to be reading the scriptures and watching lessons 24/7, right? Sometimes, you might you need to divert the mind by, whatever hobbies that you have. You might watch some TV or play some video games or go out, whatever. But just make sure that you're getting your daily intake of the spiritual foods, man. Your daily readings, watching the lessons, making your own lessons. Make sure that's incorporated within your routine. Okay? Else, what I'm saying? Nothing's going to be pouring out of you, man. Because you're not pouring into yourself. You see? Scriptures say that your eye be single, man. Okay? Well, your eye being single, what? Upon the truth, man. So this is Matthew 6 and verse 21. It says, "For where your treasure is, there will your heart be also." You see? So where your treasure is, this is where your heart is going to be. Right? Your heart referring to what? Your mind. Because the word heart in the Hebrew is lab, which means mind. Okay? So whatever you apply your mind into, that's where your treasure is going to be. If your mind is set upon the things above, then your mind is going to be above. Right? Scriptures command us to set our affections, let's get that, on the things above. Affection. There we go. This is Colossians 3 and verse 2. It says, "Set your affection on things above, not on things on the earth." You see? Put your mind above, man. And how do you put your mind above? By reading, tapping into the lessons, doing your own lessons. Basically doing the work. All right? That's how you grow. Apostle Gabar always makes this statement, how that repetition is, the mother of skill or father of skill. You know what I'm saying? The more and more you repeat something, it's going to be embedded in you. So how much more with these scriptures, man? You're trying to conform to the mindset of Yahweh Shem Yahushai. You ought to invest in the truth. That's how you set your affections for things above, man. Constantly meditating upon the scriptures. Look at our forefathers, man. An example that comes to mind is King David. Throughout the Psalms, he always illustrates or says how that what's it called? You know, he constantly meditates upon the precepts of the Lord, or how that is the precepts that he gets understanding. You see? So how much more us being in these last days are we to meditate on these scriptures, man, daily? You know, whether you're at work, you're out and about, you know, these scriptures are supposed to be in you. And it's gonna show. It's gonna show, man. It's gonna show, right? Because once again, the more and more you practice something, the more and more you put your time into something, that's what's gonna come out of you. Because that's what you're giving your time and your attention onto, right? Regardless if you're out and about in the world doing worldly shit, you know, or having different interactions with people of the world, precepts are gonna flood your mind, you know, on behavior, conduct, and things of that nature. I know it happens to me, right? When I'm and about, you know, when something happens, a precept comes to mind. Oh shit, yo, scriptures say this about that. Oh wow, that's wonderful. You know, and sometimes you might do it just out of reflex. You might just apply certain precepts out of reflex because what? You know, you've been reading and constantly being immersed in this truth. To where that, you know, you're actually living the precept. You're actually applying it without even thinking about it. You see? You know, hey, these scriptures, they're living, man. They're life, man. You know, that's one of the ways that you baptize and sanctify yourself. You cleanse yourself. Scriptures speak about that in Ephesians, right? Ephesians 5 and verse 26. It says that he might sanctify and cleanse it with the washing of water by the word. You see? Yeah, man, it's by the word that you get washed, you get cleansed. And the only way that you can get cleansed and washed is by applying these words, man, by reading it. And then when you read it, you put it into practice. You see? It's very important, man. Oh, man, I don't have any topics, man. There's no lesson coming to mind, bro. Fuck. Hey, probably because you're not pouring it to yourself. Probably because you're not reading enough. You're not watching enough lessons. You know, I know, hey, we all have lives. You know, we all have a job. We got to go to work. We got to handle things. But you got to make sure you put time for the Lord, man. You know? Oh, let's go back to Matthew, man. You got to make sure you put time for the Lord because it says here, back to Matthew 6 and verse 22, it says, the light of the body is the eye. If therefore thine eye be single, thy whole body shall be full of light. You see, let your eye be single upon the truth, man. Not these worldly things. Yes, we all have jobs. We all have responsibilities. But what's the first and foremost duty that you have to do? It's to work. You know what I'm saying? You got to prioritize, man. You know? You got to prioritize. You got to fix your mind, let it be single upon the truth, man. The other things, they're going to come afterwards. You know? If you do what you need to do, the Lord is going to take care of you. That's a light thing. You know? It says, but if thine eye be evil, thy whole body shall be full of darkness. If therefore the light that is in thee be darkness, how great is that darkness? Yeah. You know? You know what I'm saying? If your eye is evil, then your body's going to be full of darkness, man. You know, we don't want that. We want to keep our eyes single fixed upon the truth so that we be illuminated with light. Okay? See what I'm saying? So, you know, you got to manage your time and make sure you put in time for the Lord and not treat the Lord like a side piece, man. You know, putting the Lord on the side. Nah, man. And this applies to me too. You know, because sometimes, you know, you might get caught up with worldly responsibilities and, you know, you neglect, you know, the duties of serving the Lord, or say putting it off from day to day. Oh, I'm going to do it at this time, you know. Nah, man. Prioritize. Prioritize, man. Get your priorities straight. You know, that worldly thing that you have to take care of, you can put that in the back burner. Of course, you know, every decision, you know, you have to do it with wisdom because certain things, you know, it might be important. You have to take care of it now. You know, don't put it by, right? But I'm saying in the sense of just prioritizing the truth, man. Okay? Things happen in life to whether, you know, you got to handle it right away. Of course, you know. You handle that, but just don't neglect your priestly duties. Of serving the Lord, man. Feeding the sheep. You know what I'm saying? Investing in yourself. You can't neglect these things, man. Because trust me, with time it shows. With time it's gonna show who's been. If you have been, studying and reading and just doing the work, it's gonna show. It's gonna show, man. It's gonna show. And your speech and your videos, it's going to show. It's highly important, man. To make sure you stay on point, man. Always sharpening your sword. What's that? In Ecclesiastes, if the iron be blunt, if the iron, there you go. This is Ecclesiastes 10 and verse 10. If the iron be blunt and he do not wet the edge, then must he put to more strength. But wisdom is profitable to direct. You see, so that's referring to like a knife, right? Or a sword. If it's blunt, then you have to use extra force to cut whatever you need to cut. But if it's sharp, it's been sharpened, the edge has been wet and sharpened, then you don't need that much strength. You just one swing, you slice it through, is gonna cut that object clean off, right? So you can apply this to your mind, right? If you're not sharpening up your mind by reading and watching these lessons and making your own lessons, then whenever the opportunity presents itself, for let's say a believer or someone asks you questions about about the work, then now you're stuck. You don't know what answer to give him. You don't know what precept to go to because your iron is not sharp. You see? Now you're paraphrasing. Oh shit, what's that scripture? Oh, this and you're messing up breakdowns. That's right. With your time, your leisure time, you haven't been applying yourself and pouring into your spirit, man. You see? That's why scripture says, study to show thyself approved. That studying, hey, it's constant. You don't just, I already read the scriptures, I don't need to read it anymore. It doesn't work like that, man. This is a constant thing of you going back to the scriptures and, constantly rehearsing these things, man. To the point of acknowledging. And if you're truly of the elect, you won't get tired of constantly reading the scriptures, man. Because once again, these words, they're living, man. This is 2 Timothy 2 in verse 15. It says, study to shew thyself approved unto Yahweh, a workman that needeth not to be ashamed, rightly dividing the word of truth. You see? Study to show yourself approved. You know what I'm saying? Then you won't need to be ashamed, man. Alright? Whenever someone asks you a question, they can answer with boldness, with confidence. Just studied, made the research, you know the breakdown. So, hey, you firmly believe in what you're saying, so there's no need for you to be ashamed because you know it's the truth. But if you don't know, then, maybe it's this. I don't know. You tell me. What the fuck? I thought you were the prophet. I thought you were the teacher. Right? Hey, you have to, man. Oh, there's another precept where it says how that to be ready to give an answer. And so, this is 1 Peter 3 in verse 15. It says, but sanctify the Lord Yahweh Shai in your hearts, and be ready always to give an answer to every man that asketh you a reason of the hope that is in you with meekness and fear. So you got to be ready to give an answer, man. And how can you be ready if you haven't studied? How can you be ready if you haven't been investing and applying yourself in these scriptures? You know what I'm saying? You have to be ready, man. So that's why this is like a day-to-day thing, man. It has to be in your daily routine, to read and apply these scriptures, man. So that when someone comes asking you, hey, you're ready. You're ready, man. A Christian pulls up and tries to, gainsay, you're ready. Because ultimately, hey, we have fellowship with the Holy One and we know all things. So, Christians pull up, Muslims pull up, whoever that doesn't have the truth, man, they can't gainsay or say shit. Because we know what we're talking about, man. If anything, they're gonna leave wounded, leaking. They might even convert. They might even throw out their religion. You know what I'm saying? They say, oh shit, man, wait, what I've been taught is a lie, man. And it is a lie. You know? Hey, we've seen that, man. You know, I remember way back, you know, a couple years ago, probably 1 year ago. You know what I'm saying? This guy pulled up when we were holding camp. You know, he was a Kufi, Kufi wearing guy. I think he was a Muslim. But he came around asking questions, you know, and then we broke down the scriptures to him, you know. He came back, kept coming back a few times to ask questions. You could see how that, you know, he was like, shit, what these guys have is the truth, and you can see that he's getting cut. And afterwards, he didn't come around anymore. And then we saw him, the kufi was gone, man. He wasn't wearing the kufi no more, man. You know, shit, yeah, his world got turned upside down, man. You know, because hey, we presented the truth unto him, man. You know what I mean? But anyways, bro, you know that's the point, man. I'm gonna close it off there, man. All right, like, you know, the